Hi, it's Tony Marino, host of the super popular Newsmax Daily podcast, a rundown of the day's top headlines and top highlights of Newsmax shows and interviews you may have missed, plus some sports, stock markets, and even some yucks, all packed into about 20 minutes. Search for the Newsmax Daily with me, Tony Marino, on your favorite podcast platform, and check out our entire lineup of great podcasts, including Greg Kelly, Rob Carson, and Jerry Callahan at newsmax.com/listen.
Now. You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Quote, any document signed by Sleepy Joe Biden with the auto pen, which was approximately 92% of them, is hereby terminated and of no further force or effect. He says the auto pen is not allowed to be used if approval is not specifically given by the President of the United States. He also says in that post, quote, I am hereby canceling all executive orders and anything else that was not directly signed by crooked Joe Biden because the people who operated the auto pen did so illegally. He goes on to say in that post, Joe Biden was not involved in the auto pen process, and if he says he was, he'll be brought up on charges of perjury.
Wow, it is unbelievable. You know, I got into the show this morning, and I've been doing prep all weekend. I went to Pittsburgh and had some wonderful Thanksgiving dinner, and then I boiled the carcass the next day, and I made the best turkey noodle soup ever yesterday while doing show prep for the show. And I, honestly, I didn't even know what to start with today. There's so much good news. There's so much bad news. Unfortunately, one of the National Guard troops who were shot in Washington, D.C. Last Wednesday, the day that I was on Chris Plant's The Right Squad on Wednesday. I was there that day. I drove downtown and I saw the shrapnel of it. I saw the police and the Secret Service and the FBI around all of that. And unfortunately, one of those soldiers died. She was 20 years old. She was the age of my daughter, and she volunteered to be down there on Thanksgiving so somebody else wouldn't have to work. And a son of a bee from Afghanistan, who Joe Biden allowed to come in unvetted, murdered her. And we're going to get to all of that as the show progresses, because there's a lot of stuff happening, a lot of things being uncovered. A lot of people are in some serious deep doo-doo, as Rush used to say, some serious deep doo-doo, including Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, who is the most corrupt governor in U.S. history. And I think the reason why Kamala Harris and the Democrat Party wanted him to be the VP was because he had perfected theft. He had perfected the use of illegals to steal billions and billions of dollars from taxpayers in the state of Minnesota. And Minnesota, unfortunately, Minnesota nice is the thing up there, but I think there's a whole lot of Minnesota ignorant and a whole lot of Minnesota stupid up there. But billions and billions of dollars taken, and I think they wanted to bring him to D.C. to show him how to do it right, although they've been doing a really good job. Got some great stuff today on Obamacare, how much, who it was written by, why they wrote it, and the billions, hundreds of billions of dollars that have gone to just enrich people in big insurance and then elect Democrats. That's what it was there for, among other things. So we're going to get to all of that as the show progresses. I do believe we need the first Christmas parody of the season. This one done by Jim Gossett about the seditious six. Here we go.
Oh, there's no place like jail for Kelly to stay.
Oh, that would be great, wouldn't it?
Alyssa Slotkin should be there too.
We can only hope.
Their sentencing will be a happy day, 'cause they broke the law and they will get their due. I'm watching Jason Crow on CNN. He is looking scared, trying hard to dodge the FBI. Miss Houlihan looked nervous. She was unprepared. I will be delighted when they're all indicted, 'cause there's no place like jail for those six to stay. Inner cells where all of them should be. A court-martial, it could come any day. Lock Mark Kelly up and throw away the key.
That would be nice, yes. There's a lot of stuff hitting the fan, and we're going to get to it as the show progresses. I want to mention something apropos of nothing. I drove to Pittsburgh and spent a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving, a much-needed Thanksgiving surrounded by wonderful people in Pittsburgh. The Baranti family, amazing people. Doug, a very, not a lifelong friend, but at least half of my life he's been my friend. And I was driving out there, and I stopped in the middle of Maryland, near Hagerstown, and I go into a convenience store, and I'm walking back to the restroom, and I hear this guy at the cash register say to a man standing there, "Thank you for your service," and that immediately piqued my interest. I said, "Okay, we got a veteran here. That's good." And then I heard 102 years old, and I went, "That's a World War II veteran." And I immediately turned around and I walked to the front to the cash register, and there's a man who is spry as can be, spry as any, honestly, physically and mentally intact than Joe Biden ever dreamed of. And his name is Jack Myers. And he was, on his jacket it said Jack Myers, 692 TDB 104th, 42nd Division, World War II veteran. And I went up to him and I said, "Thank you for your service as always." And I shook his hand and I began to talk to him briefly. And he said, "Oh yeah, I served in Europe." And he acted, kind of matter of fact, like so many World War II veterans he doesn't brag about his service like Mark Kelly to use as a shield against seditious things he said. And he just kind of made it no big deal. Well, I did a little research this morning, and he was part of the 692 Tank Destroyer Battalion. 692 Tank Destroyer Battalion, constituted 1942, activated April 10th, 1942, left New York April 12th, 1944 on a British ship, Scythia, landed in England September 23rd. Its orders were to engage the enemy and destroy its fortifications. It engaged in heavy attacks and counterattacks in Eschweiler, Weichweiler, Linden, and others areas near the Ruhr River in Germany. The battalion took over defensive positions of other units which were withdrawing to meet the counterattack of the German breakthrough in the Ardennes. There were many men who got crash course in artillery fire at this time. Also at this time, late February 1945, 692 was reorganized from 3 to repel the enemy in the Battle of the Bulge, thus receiving admiration from the 1st Army and the 104th Division. Holy crap, I met that guy. That's how my break started. Unbelievable. And he acted like, I did had some action in Europe. I said, "You didn't just have action in Europe, sir." I wanted to share that because that's how that was the highlight, other than the Thanksgiving dinner, of my Thanksgiving break. Everything else was kind of a denouement from there, which means it peaks and it went down, kind of like Joe Biden's intelligence and cognitive ability. When he became the president of the United States, it was really something else. It was really something else to meet somebody like that. My father would have been 104, so he was a couple years older than this man. So I felt like I was finally able to connect with a World War II veteran, and I've met many World War II veterans, but it meant a lot to meet this gentleman, just to meet him in Hagerstown, Maryland. And I just want you to remember his name, Jack Meyer, an American hero. I got to shake his hand. I got to meet him and say thank you for your service. Something else, man. I'm going to tell you. I thought maybe you'd like to hear that today. Because listen, I don't even know where to start, because I have been doing show prep for the show since Wednesday night last week. So I have got a lot of things. I got a lot of good news. I've got some bad news. I have inspirational news. And I'm going to tell you right now, there is a hue and cry in this country that is growing and growing and growing against the damned Democrat Party and what they've done to our country. What Joe Biden did to our country, what Alejandro Mayorkas did to our country, what the clueless dimwit Kamala Harris did to our country, what Tim Walz and the Democrat Party did to the state of Minnesota, and it is not going to go without payback. Also, big news on DHS Secretary Tulsi Gabbard, talking about Barack Obama. We are talking about major charges against Barack Obama for conspiracy against Donald Trump to overthrow or essentially have a coup d'etat when Donald Trump was the president. All of this is coming out. Feces meet fan, fan meet feces. All of that is coming up. We've also got great guests. We'll start with Blaine Holt at the bottom of the hour. He's going to tell us about Maduro in Venezuela. Apparently, he may have already left. Just parking all these the aircraft carrying all the ships off the coast of Venezuela may have caused him to let me just say mess his pants. And he may already be out. So freedom is coming in time for Christmas to the much long-suffering people of Venezuela. That's how we're starting the show today. How does it sound? I think it sounds pretty amazing. So settle in. We're going to be with you for about another 2 hours and 45 minutes, and I promise you it's going to be amazing. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Breaker 19, this here's the Iceman. You got a copy on me, Pigpen? Come on. I was just passed by a gang of truckers I ain't never seen before. They were yelling out their windows, "Death to America." Yeah, we definitely got the front door. Mercy sakes alive. It looks like we got us an Al-Qaeda convoy. ICE just arrested a terrorist in a truck. The fact that he ain't hurt no one, well, that's just total luck. He was here illegally for jihad, he is called. Only a liberal Democrat wouldn't be appalled. We got a terrorist convoy here illegally. They could pose a major threat, a threat to you and me. Terroristic truckers wonder what's in their load. Wouldn't be surprised if a rig of theirs explodes. Convoy. We'll catch you on the flip-flop, Pigpen. This is the Iceman. Over and out.
The FBI says Democrats got ballots from China. The CCP are dirty rats, sending ballots from China. Fake driver's licenses the Chinese supplied to cheat in 2020 can't be denied. Cash Patel produced the proof. China helped steal it. He's about to raise the roof. I can't just feel it. Democrats, they are nervous, and they ought to be. If you got ballots from China, should not go free.
Law enforcement isn't to prevent crime. Law enforcement solves crime, not can't necessarily prevent them from happening.
Buffoon. Jasmine, she is a buffoon. District no longer exists. Out of the Congress real soon. I'll be glad when she's gone from D.C. No Jasmine, it will be pure bliss. I know that this may not sound PC. That mouth on her I will not miss. Buffoon. Jasmine is a total fake. Her ghetto accent's not real. How much more can we take? Buffoon. She was drawn out of her seat. Will be in Congress no longer. Her leaving will be a treat.
Hey, quick question for all the people mad at Donald Trump for calling that reporter a piggy. Would you prefer to call her Hitler, racist, rapist, pedo, dictator, fascist? Would you prefer one of those?
Come on, Metallica. Oh my goodness. I love it. He's giving them what fur. Donald Trump is giving them what fur. I want to mention another thing about this Jack Meyer, this wonderful man I met in Hagerstown at a convenience store. He was part of the 692nd Tank Destroyer Battalion in Germany. I want you to listen to this. I'm just reading. I'm going to share it. I just think I met this man. Holy crap. February 23rd, 1945, battalion forced a pre-dawn crossing of the violent flood-swollen Roar River, overran a well-established and heavily mined enemy position. Devastating counterfire failed to halt the attack on Bergsdorf and the high ground on the north. They were committed to a night assault across unfamiliar ground to capture Arnold Swiler. Advanced without hesitation, they met deadly artillery fire but secured a position of the town by dawn. The enemy then launched 6 furious counterattacks, which were heavily supported by artillery. Self-propelled guns and mortars were used in the counterattacks. After heavy, steady, furious fighting, it secured Arnold Swiler. Now listen to this. Listen to this. When the Ardennes Bulge battle was contained, the battalion fought its way to the Cologne Rhine River. Here, the battalion helped save the regiment bridge by assaulting the opposite side of the Rhine River with heavy, accurate artillery fire while troops rushed to engage the enemy. You ready for the icing on the cake from this man that I met? This wonderful man? The unit liberated the concentration camp at Dachau. And one of their captured Gestapo agents was the first spy to be executed by the 7th Army. And I met that man at a convenience store in Hagerstown. And he acted like it was no big deal. Oh, yeah, I served in Europe. Meanwhile, you got Mark Kelly, who's a traitorous wretch, on television bragging about his, he supposedly sank some ships and stuff, and he's using it. What a line of crap. Honestly, what an absolute despicable line of crap. Just an awful human being. Now, we're going to get to all of that as the show progresses. I got to tell you, unbelievable. I want to share. This was President Trump talking about these two National Guard soldiers who were shot last Wednesday. One of them dying, a 20-year-old woman, my daughter's age. She died on Thanksgiving Day. The Democrat Party is blaming Donald Trump for this because he sent the National Guard into Washington, D.C., and the Democrat Party, as far as I'm concerned, can go to frickin' hell. Here is Donald Trump talking about the soldiers.
You've spoken with Andrew Wolf-Staley. Can you give us an update on this? I have spoken to both families. Well, I mean, I can give you an update. They're devastated. Does that make sense to you? Of course. They're devastated. Can you give us an update on Andrew Wolf-Staley? Well, as you know, the one is no longer with us. And Andrew is fighting for his life. And his parents are unbelievably great people, highly religious people. And they're praying, and they want everybody to pray for Andrew. And he is has a chance to make it, but he is, his mother and father, they were so unbelievable. They were so positive. From West Virginia, great state.
I've had the chance to meet a bunch of these West Virginia National Guard troops in near World War II Memorial, near the Lincoln Memorial, and in Union Station since I moved here 5 months ago, and I've thanked every one of them for what they've done. Sarah Beckstrom was 20 years old. She succumbed to her injuries on Thursday after her and fellow guardsman Andrew Wolf were ambushed while on duty near the White House in Washington, D.C. By a terrorist who was unvetted and allowed to come into the United States by Joe Biden after his feckless, absolutely treacherous withdrawal from Afghanistan, which, by the way, was a massive slap in the face to anyone who's fought there, anyone who's returned there, whether they return in a casket with a flag over the top of it or with profound injuries for life, whether mental or physical. But nobody ever gave a rat's rear end about that, for God's sake. I almost slipped, didn't I? Oh, hell. Rat's ass. How's that? Here's Pam Bundy.
I've been on the phone with Melody and Jason. Those are Andy's Wolf's parents. These are wonderful people. They were at his bedside last night. They are at his bedside right now. They spent Thanksgiving at Andy's bedside. And Shannon, I just have to say this, we are a praying country, and we all have to pray for Andy's full recovery right now. He is a remarkable young man. He joined the Guard in 2019. His dad's a career police officer. He fought to keep our country safe, and now we have to pray to fight to get him back to 100.
And we will. And we will, and we will, and we will. Here's the Democrats, the intellectually and morally bankrupt party that needs to be swept into the dustbin of history, blaming Donald Trump.
This is a desperate attempt of the Trump administration to blame everybody else in the world and not accept any accountability. In this case, there's no evidence that there was something that escaped the vetting.
They're going to blame Joe Biden on everything. I mean, it is almost getting comical. You know.
Because he was such a terrible president and he caused so much damage, destruction, death, child sex trafficking, adult women sex trafficking, fentanyl death, absolute economic destruction across the country. He was the worst president in American history.
At this point.
Don't say that all Afghans in the United States, those who served with our military and who lost their lives and their health and their families in many ways by doing so.
He's not saying that. He's not saying that. You know what's happened since Donald Trump became the president? Since he sent out the National Guard, because Democrat mayors and Democrat governors have let their cities like Washington, D.C. become such crap holes? The nationwide homicide rate has fallen to the lowest in recorded history. When FBI data for 2025 is scheduled to be released in December, Kash Patel offered a positive preview. The FBI is going to be releasing murder rates in December, which the lowest in modern history by double digits. The FBI will likely report the lowest murder rate it has ever recorded when the reported crime in the United States for 2025 comes out in the second half of 2026. And you know what he did? He took all of these FBI agents who were sitting on their asses in the Hoover building or not coming back to work after COVID, and he spread them across the country to tackle crime. And the Democrat Party brought in 190,000 Afghans unvetted, and Tim Walz brought in hundreds of thousands of Somalis who stole billions of dollars from the state of Minnesota. Honestly, I've had about enough of this Democrat Party. Coming up, Blaine Holt, Brigadier General, going to be talking about Maduro in Venezuela. He may have already gotten out. So freedom for Venezuela by Christmas. How's that sound? Don't go anywhere.
Talking out loud of his dirty tactics, how can he be proud to close up the federal government? For the GOP, Schumer is heaven sent. Chuck ought to know that this time around he will get the blame for a government shutdown. We'll be taking the fall. Democrats want, but they won't get a bunch of new spending to run up the debt. Hakeem Jeffries, a guy we cannot trust. Negotiations, he is why they've been a bust. Dems can't wait to leave this town. A sad, sad truth, they want to shut down. Makes them think they can win.
Well, they have a lot of cats, and they're mostly Democrats like V.P. Harris. They cry when they lose from their left-wing views. I wish they'd spare us. They're cat ladies. Whoa, 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 they're cat ladies. Talking about some miserable ladies who have clearly lost their minds.
People that are pro-life, I hate you.
Got called out by J.D. Vance. When he had the chance, he really nailed them. They're too dumb to know. Kamala and Joe have really failed them. They're cat ladies. Don't have a child, they're cat ladies. Talking about some miserable ladies who are out of their minds.
I am sending troops to Memphis, Tennessee, 'cause it looks like Memphis could use some help from me. The mayor has done nothing to put criminals away. Memphis needs our help, and they need it there today. The city's run by Democrats who defunded police. They can't do their jobs or maintain the peace. I'm sending in the guard. Memphis needs it bad. Their mayor, Paul Young, that guy's really sad. Voted the most dangerous place in the USA. Wouldn't want to live there. Wouldn't want to stay. Sending in the guard. That call, it was mine. Democrats in Memphis, listen to them whine.
Podcast rejoin here.
Okay. Really? I don't think I've heard it. Oh.
The Rob Carson Show podcast is everywhere. Go to newsmax.com/listen for details.
People can tell the difference, should be able to tell the difference between something that is unlawful and something that is lawful. And if I was ever given an unlawful order, I would refuse. If you have time, you can certainly go to the judge, advocate generals, the lawyers, and have a discussion about it. If you don't have time, you just say simply, I'm not going to do that. That's against the law.
Wow. It puts a lot of burden on the troops to make a decision in real time.
It puts a tremendous amount of burden on officers in the military, but that is their responsibility, and they can figure out, a reasonable person can tell something that is legal and something that is illegal.
I would call that a double down. I would call that a very dangerous double down by a mouthy man who is not an honorable person. That is Mark Kelly, a senator who is encouraging sedition in the military. And I hope the SOB is court-martialed. Hey, joining us on the Newsmax Hotline, the man, retired Brigadier General Blaine Holt joins us on the Newsmax Hotline. Your thoughts, my friend, on this Monday?
Yeah, well, it's great to be with you and to call out ridiculousness wherever we can find it, because not only is Mark Kelly trying to sow discord in our ranks and trying to put unsuspecting NCOs, unsuspecting young officers into a position where they're suddenly supposed to adjudicate what's right, what's wrong, what's legal, what's not. But this is a man who has a Chinese investment in one spy balloon company. Yes. This is a man who routinely shows up at Ukraine to kiss the ring, and a guy who never said a word when the illegal order came down to get the vax or else. And so for a sitting senator to do this, it's not random. He has 5 accomplices. They did this for a reason. They did it for a reason right now. And then we see tragic events like this Afghan guy who jumps in a car, drives 3,000 miles to go assassinate some guardsmen, and pulled it off with one of them tragically. So they are absolutely seditious, and they're trying to stoke an insurrection, in my view. 100%.
Here he is talking smack. Because you know what? Little men say things like this. He says that if Donald Trump had ordered him to blow up those narco boats off Venezuela, he would have said no.
You mentioned that you were a captain in the Navy. If you received that order, would you have carried it out?
No, and I'm a guy who I have sunk 2 ships. I've sunk an OSA-2 missile patrol boat in Kuwait Harbor, a Palnakni troop carrier in the Persian Gulf during the first Gulf War. I never, in that situation, questioned whether those strikes...
Now, I don't know what he did in the Navy. I can only assume because of his lack of character, he may be kind of inflating the truth a little bit. But here he is, he's saying that, oh yeah, I would have definitely denied those orders. What's the possibility of that, Blaine Holt?
None. Zero. He's just ridiculous, and what they're trying to do. So here's the thing. Let's go through the basics here. What is President Trump doing? He's taking the war to the cartels. By the way, how many Americans have died at the hands of drugs inflowing to this country since 1980? 1.5 million. 1.5. Okay. So when you are actually trying to blunt the president's progress at the world's most illegal mafia syndicates that enable all the money laundering, all the human trafficking, all the pedophilia, all the drugs, they're connected to the CCP. They're connected to the World Economic Forum. Bankers who say, no, I'm legit. I swear to God I am. Intelligence agencies around the world. That's what the president is pushing on. So when somebody says, I'm going to stop you, I want to know what their motivations are, who pays for them, where they get their own money. I also am not impressed with the fact that the Republican leadership, not saying a word, not complaining, not energizing at all. So whenever somebody does something that's uncharacteristic or un-American, I want to know who's paying for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I had mentioned, and I said one of the reasons we brought you on the show today was because I had heard that Maduro either has already fled Venezuela or is on the way out. And I believe, and I've said that Donald Trump becoming the president would spread a freedom revolution around the world. And also, I might mention, since the assassination of Charlie Kirk, which the left and Democrats celebrated, a rebirth of faith that is spreading around the world. What have you heard about Maduro in Venezuela?
Yep, so I'm getting this from a bunch of different channels, but still, I want to caution all the listeners to go, it's not validated. We have to see him in another country in order to validate that.
Of course.
But the president, my understanding is that Maduro was told, you need to get out of Dodge and you need to do it by 1 December. The other thing that I understand is he's probably not in Caracas, but we don't know if he's left the country yet. And I'm told he's in a bunker, but we don't know what country that bunker sits in. So there are some interesting military movements out of the Venezuelan military on the Brazil border. Does that mean they took their boss there? But I will tell you that if Maduro cut a deal and got himself exiled to either Turkey or Iran, the most likely outcomes, he's going to be the world's most wanted man by the criminals. And they'll have a big bullseye on his back for a very long time. I don't know how he makes it out of this in any way, fashion, or form. And then watch Cuba, because if Venezuela goes into chaos, economic chaos will come to Cuba.
I love it, and this is what I was hoping and praying, and I've told many of my Cuban brothers and sisters that I believe that the remnants of the Castro communist regime will fall, and I believe that's going to happen. I really, really do, Blaine. Maduro told Trump apparently that he wanted two things: he wanted to stay in charge, and he wanted to be free from prosecution. Donald Trump said no and no. So no chance of that happening. I thought that was freaking fantastic. No movement at all. Trump said, oh, hell no. And when you got that sort of firepower off your coast, when you get that reaction, you better get your ass out of Dodge.
Well, that's exactly right. And it's what the president has said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a head start. Start running. And the big thing is again, those cartels, there's billionaires living in Venezuela awfully high on the hog who now they're like, well, now what's going to happen to us? And it's like, now you're tracking.
Yes,
Those are
yes.
good questions.
So what of Cuba, and Cuba has been just a hellhole for years. They've got, I think, 90 political prisons on the damned island. They are tenuous at best. Donald Trump has done a very good job at keeping them alienated economically, so they're not able to defend them. How do you suppose this domino will fall?
Well, this is the thing. So if the communist leaders are starting to fall, and we're looking at this, does this mean Lula falls in Brazil? Does this mean that the structure in Cuba is going to fall? We saw the fall of communist socialists in Chile. Yeah. So there's a wave. That's why it was so important for us to shore up Argentina and their economy. So does that wave touch Cuba? It absolutely could touch Cuba. And I'll be sad because, or at least if Cuba opens up and becomes a free country, I'm going to race there at the speed of heat and go buy one of their brand new 57 Chevrolets that they make in those factories.
And I'm going to get some Cuban cigars that don't cost $45 a stick.
Romeo and Juliet's for you. I'll get the car.
I do the what is it? The torpedo number 3. I'm trying to remember what it is. Anyway, let's continue the conversation on the other side. I've got much I need to talk to you about. Blaine Holt, Brigadier General Blaine Holt, who, by the way, hosts a great podcast called Dangerous Intellectuals. You might want to look into that. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Oh, I'm looking forward to Christmas. I got completely hosed on Christmas last year. The day after the election, my wife asked me for a divorce. The day after the election. I wonder why that happened. I don't know. She suddenly started treating me really bad in 2024. I wonder what that was all about. Wow, kind of weird. Anyway, welcome to the show. Please come inside. We've got Brigadier General Blaine Holt and also the host of this terrific podcast. And I'm drawing a blank on it all of a sudden. Oh, yes. Dangerous Intellectuals. It's a great show, by the way. And I love the intro, by the way, but the stagecraft, the oral stagecraft that he uses to promote this show and to introduce this show. Blaine Holt, it's really good, bro. I don't know where you learned that stuff, but you're doing it right.
I really appreciate that. You know, I did all those things right before I went to college, joined ROTC, and became an Air Force guy. I was Mr. Photographer, graphic artist, sound guy. And I had hair that went down my back.
Oh my God, I got to see pictures of that.
Now I have none.
Yeah, because you look like Mr. Clean now. You know? All right, I got a couple things we need to hit on here. Obviously, Donald Trump calling out Joe Biden for, and we knew this was going to happen because they just freaking opened up our airspace, our borders to Afghan refugees, a country that was run by the Taliban for the last 30 years after a disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, which was a slap in the face to people like you. Here is Kash Patel talking about it this weekend.
Well, you miss all the signs when you do absolutely zero vetting. And that's exactly what happened in this case. When you, in the prior administration, made the decision to allow thousands of people into this country without doing a single piece of background checking or vetting, that's how you miss every single sign. And Secretary Kristi Noem has put out details specifically related to your other questions, so I'll let that speak for himself.
So why, sir? I mean, nobody is this incompetent. Let's be honest. Nobody is this incompetent. It was by design, the opening of the southern border to people who were unvetted for disease or criminality. This was all by design to take down America as founded.
Yes, it is. And it was the kickoff to open borders for 4 years. Let's bring in terror cells. Let's bring in the Taliban. And if you think that the CIA has white gloves on this, you're just kidding yourself. I was very much a part of the rescue attempts for our true friends that were in their own sewage standing outside the Abbey Gate trying to get in. I'm still trying to get one Afghan woman out today who's still trapped in Islamabad, Pakistan. But when that was happening, and I was talking to people who used to work for me on active duty on the phone while they were in Kabul, 3 black buses show up at the Abbey Gate.
Yep.
They're all blacked out. They just drive right on in. They go right up to the back of a C-17, America's jet, and they and the Afghan men, fighting age, just get out and start loading on. And people are going, well, what's this? Well, why are they getting them? Well, why? And then we get patted on the head by the State Department and the CIA saying, don't you worry about that. And now here they are. So we get to this day. Well, if the CIA says they vetted them, fine. Then you're on the hook for them. You tell us how you vetted them. You tell us why they're here. You tell us what your motivation was to bring them here and why they're now killing American soldiers And go ahead, because we'll just investigate the crap out of you. If John Ratcliffe doesn't get after this, then somebody needs to get after John Ratcliffe.
I swear to God. Here's Jen Psaki. She said that they were vetted.
Like that doesn't make his or her way here.
I can absolutely assure you that no one is coming into the United States of America who has not been through a thorough screening and background check.
It was an absolute lie, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's not what Mayorkas said in front of Congress. No, we didn't vet anybody. We didn't have time.
I swear to God.
Yeah, so this is treason. This is treason. This is an act against your country. And by the way, it's not happening just here in the United States.
Oh, yes.
The same thing is happening in Europe. So what we have then is a Central Command Authority, somebody above Obama's pay grade, somebody above the middle managers like Klaus Schwab, Larry Fink at the World Economic Forum. And they're leading this puppet string. But my friend Sasha Kreiner, who is over in Monaco, he says it best on all the podcasts he's on. And he says, you know what they're doing? They're putting the red ants in a jar and they're putting the black ants in a jar, and they're closing the jar and they're shaking it. And that's what this invasion is all about, because when the ants are all fighting each other, guess what? They're not looking up at who closed the jar.
Yeah, and then also you might add the the ants to the equation with regard to the seditious six attempting to divide our military into red and black ants.
Same thing, same exact thing, and it's the same formula, and it's happening all over the world, and it's happening here. So are we truly to believe that Alyssa Slotkin is not really working with the Central Intelligence Agency anymore when
Yes.
at the Brookings Institute, 2 weeks before this happens, at the Brookings Institute, she makes a speech and says, well, I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't violence against one of our guardsmen in 2 weeks to the day.
Yeah, here she is.
They're taunting us.
Here she's saying, "Oh yeah, you know, the National Guard, they might shoot somebody."
People got upset about the video, and let me just say, they are trying to wield fear.
These videos coming out of places like Chicago, it makes me incredibly nervous that we're about to see people in law enforcement, people in uniform military get nervous, get stressed, shoot at American civilians. It is a very, very stressful situation for these law enforcement.
This is evil, man.
It is evil. It is evil. And here's the thing. The again, leaders in Congress not calling it out.
You better
government
get on this.
officials not calling it out. They have to do it now because this is going to escalate and more people will get hurt.
I swear to God, there are a lot of people who have served in the military. There are a lot of people who are patriotic Americans, are absolutely sick of this frickin' nonsense. And there is a wave building, brother. There is a tsunami coming right now to what they have done to us. And I hope to hell, and I will say this, that Alejandro Mayorkas is put on trial, that he is convicted, and he is lined up against a wall. I'm not afraid to say it, because he caused the death of so many people, and it is about damn time that we started meting out real justice to these people.
You know, I'm with you. If we don't get to the season of accountability, we're going to lose this republic, and we're all worried about foreign wars. You better be worried about the one on Main Street.
Yep, well, we're not going to let it happen, are we? Blaine Holt, I appreciate you, brother. Where can people find all of your work?
Well, come on to dangerousintellectuals.com. Today's subject, we are talking about radical entrepreneurship by a great thinker in that space. And then you can always find me at newsmax.com on the Insiders page, The Irascible Disruptor. And thank you so much for the time today.
God bless you, brother. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if
All righty.
Would an individual have flown across the country to target law enforcement officers in Washington, D.C.? And, I mean, the answer is likely no. So why wasn't the president's first thought, wow, maybe I should reconsider deploying military troops in the nation's capital or in any city?
That's Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who looks like a labradoodle who just got washed and didn't get dried. Just the filthiest thing you could ever imagine, that Donald Trump bringing troops to Washington, D.C. and dropping violent crime in Washington, D.C. By up to 80%, carjackings down 80%. And that wretched woman blames Donald Trump for an Afghan, unvetted, psychotic Islamist who Joe Biden allowed in with 100,000 others after the Afghanistan withdrawal. How dare you? I'm done. I am done with this Democrat Party. I am done. Those are fighting words. You want to fight? Let's go. Ridiculous. Utterly, this was the line. This is it. What they did by saying this about the young woman who was murdered, the young man who was fighting for his life, his National Guard troops who came here. And by the way, they were spat upon. They were spat upon in Washington, D.C. by Democrats. There are a lot of politicians should be getting coal in their stocking this Christmas. Birch Gold thinks, as a smart planner, you deserve silver. That's why for every $5,000 you purchase between now and December 22nd, Birch Gold will send you an ounce of silver, which is up 60% this year. Smart people diversify and have a hedge. That's why I encourage you to buy gold from Birch Gold. With the rate cuts from the Fed in 2026, the dollar will be worth less. And what happens when the AI bubble bursts? If it does, diversify. Let Birch Gold help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into tax-sheltered IRA and physical gold. Text my name, Rob, to 989898 to claim your eligibility for this offer. Text Rob to 989898 today, because Birch Gold's free silver with qualifying purchase ends December 22nd. Text Rob to 989898. We have got some great news on the other side of the break about the possibility of no income tax. Yeah, I said it. It's a possibility. That's coming up next. This is the Rob Carson Show.
You're about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show. The first hour is pretty amazing, right? This hour is going to be as amazing or even more. Doug Burns, former federal prosecutor, is going to join us later this hour to talk about a number of things. I got some great news that is going to make life less expensive for you. The possibility of the elimination of the income tax. Oh, my God, yeah. Yeah, because you know why? Because tariffs. I know, you Wall Street Journal readers who were going to kill yourselves when Donald Trump became the president. I do want to mention that I was graced by the presence of several people this weekend who came to Washington, D.C. to meet one another because they are people who are live chatters on our Rumble channel. And we've got people, a community of people who chat on Facebook, who chat on YouTube, who chat on Rumble during the live broadcast. And several of these folks have gotten together and become fast friends, and they came to Washington, D.C. to meet me. I know I'm not worthy. I want to say hi to Diane and Ernie Rutledge, and Kevin and Laura Heenan. They came in this weekend, and I got to show them around Old Town Alexandria, and they took me out to lunch. We went to this little place called The Mystic here in Old Town Alexandria, and I said, we got to go there because it's a small place. They never have much business, but their food is amazing, and I want you to try a crab cake for the very first time because one of the couples was from Texas and never had one before. And we went in and we had a marvelous meal. Everything was perfect. And we found out from the waitress that the Mystic was closing the next day, which was yesterday. And the waitress who took care of us, I've seen there before, and I've gone there about once a month since I got here. Not enough to keep them in business. We gave her a hell of a tip because we know how hard it is to be unemployed at Christmas time. And it was really something else. I'm blessed. Blessed beyond belief. You know, Rush Limbaugh had the EIB network. I have the BBB network. Blessed beyond belief.
We love to win. Winning, so much winning. It's lots of winning, 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 lots of winning. It's oh so good.
Okay, so tariff revenue hit $31 billion in October, and Trump is floating abolishing the income tax altogether. Yeah, because you see, the income tax came along. Before that, the federal government was funded by tariffs. You didn't know that, right? Yeah. And then, what was it? Was it Wilson came along? He was a piece of crap, and he brought in the income tax, and it's been oppressive ever since. Trump's talking about, for those making under $200,000, might see their income taxes slashed or even eliminated when the policies full effects take place, and right now $33 billion just in that month, $320 billion this year. Yeah, there you go. So suck it, Wall Street Journal readers and liberals. Oh, and then there's also this, by the way, in case you were traveling over the river and through the woods.
This morning, some states seeing gas prices below $3 for the first time in years. Let's get to CNN's Matt Egan for the good news on this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice to finally be here with some good news on the cost of living front. So for the first time in 4.5 years, gas prices are averaging $3 a gallon nationally, according to AAA, down by 7 cents in just the past.
You know what state is blowing the curve? California. It really is. It's actually below $2.70 a gallon, and I filled at $2.50 something on my way to Pittsburgh. And when I got here to Northern Virginia, it was $3.36 when I got here, and I can get it for $2.72 now. I pay attention to these things because I was poor for a good share of my life. So there you go. I think that's kind of cool. I think you ought to be real happy about that. So Democrats, you're losing on every front. It's just so glorious. My God in heaven, it is so glorious. Donald Trump's greatest post of all time happened over the weekend. It was pretty amazing. He's going after Tim Walz because Tim Walz is a moron. Tim Walz is the governor of the most corrupt state in America, Minnesota, because they let all these Somalians in. And no, all Somalians aren't corrupt. No, but a whole hell of a lot of them are. Yeah, because you know why? Because Somalia is the meth lab trailer park of the world, and it has been for a very long time. President Trump's Thanksgiving message. Very happy Thanksgiving salutation to all our great American citizens, patriots who've been so nice to allow our country, who have been so nice in allowing our country to be divided, disrupted, and carved up, murdered, beaten, mugged, and laughed at, along with certain other foolish countries throughout the world for being politically correct and just plain stupid. The official United States foreign population stands at 53 million, most of which are on welfare from failed nations or from prisons, mental institutions, gangs, or drug cartels. A illegal migrant, earning $30,000 with a green card will get roughly $50,000 in yearly benefits for their family. It's true, because Democrats want to replace all of you guys who are voters with voters who will just vote for Democrats because they give them free crap. Leading cause of social dysfunction in America, something that did not exist after World War II. As an example, hundreds of thousands of refugees from Somalia completely taking over the once great state of Minnesota. The seriously retarded governor of Minnesota. You can't say that. Oh, yes, I can, because I just did. Tim Walz does nothing either through fear, incompetence, or both, while the worst Congress man or woman in our country, Ilhan Omar, always wrapped in her swaddling hijab and who probably came to the United States illegally, in that you are not allowed to marry your brother, does nothing but hatefully complain about our country, its constitution, and how badly she is treated when her place of origin is a decadent, backward, and crime-ridden nation, which is essentially not even a country for lack of government, military, police, and schools. Happy Thanksgiving. Oh my God, it's so fantastic. It's so fantastic. Here is Will Cain, by the way. Will Cain on Fox talking about what's happening in Minnesota.
Through the first 6 months of this year, costs are at $61 million, meaning if you double that over the entirety of the year, you're looking at $122 million.
This is just one scam, and he's going to cover two of them here.
In 5 years, from $2 million to $122 million. Now, why? 6 people are accused of defrauding HSS, and they're members of the Somali community. But this just gets worse. Yeah. If we take a look at Minnesota's federally funded autism program. Yeah. Now, several people, and this is an example, a woman in the Somali community, are co-conspirators, and they're accused of recruiting kids for autism therapy. They brought in families, had them convinced to get their kids diagnosed as autistic. In fact, these families ultimately ended up having various social services bid for their children.
Yeah, and I'm venturing to say most of those families did know their kids did not have autism. Give me a friggin' break.
Children competing with the size of check that they would get.
Yeah, see, that's why I say that they knew their kids didn't have autism.
It didn't matter if the kids had autism. And what happened? Autism claims to Medicaid surged. In 2018, $3 million.
Yep.
By 2023, listen here, from $3 million to $400 million. Autism providers jumped from 41 to 328 in 5 years.
Yeah. Now, the New York Times did a piece. The New York Times! Ernesto Landano, reporting from Minneapolis, how fraud swamped Minnesota's social services system on Tim Walz watch. They go after Tim Walz. Tim Walz has to go to jail. He has to go to jail. There's a lot of people need to go to jail in Minnesota. Federal prosecutors charged dozens of people with felonies, accusing them of stealing hundreds of millions of dollars from a government program meant to keep children fed. That was the $250 million program that over the last 5 years took root in pockets of Minnesota, Somalia, diaspora, as scores of individuals made small fortunes setting up companies that build state agencies for millions of dollars worth of social services that were never provided. Federal prosecutors say 59 people have been convicted in these schemes so far. More than $1 billion taxpayer dollars have been stolen in 3 plots they are investigating. This also including, by the way, the fraud with regard to and Tim Walz did D-word for Richard about it. You know why? Because Minnesota Democrats need the Somali community and fear the Somali community not voting for them, you see. Not voting for them. So there is that. Here is DHS. Oh, the DHS did this operation Twin Shield up there, and they uncovered massive fraud. Minnesota, the most fraud. I used to live there. Thank God I don't live there anymore. The most fraudulent state in the nation, and it's all because of the Democrat Farmers and Laborers Party and Governor Tim Walz.
September 19th, officers from our Fraud Detection and National Security Security Directorate, working in teams, have conducted over 1,000 site visits across the Minneapolis-St. Paul area as part of this operation. What they found should shock all of America. Focusing on a list of over 1,000 target cases involving more than 900 individuals, our officers encountered blatant marriage fraud, visa overstays, people claiming to work at businesses that can't be found, forged documents, abuse of the H-1B visa system, abuse of the F-1 visas, and many other discrepancies.
That is just crazy. That is just crazy. And apparently Tim Walz was quite mad because Donald Trump called him retarded. I can say it because you see the president said it. And, you know, for years, people use the word retarded to make fun of people who are intellectually disabled, okay? But you see, retarded has changed. The word actually means people who are, like Tim Walz, who are stupid and corrupt, okay? So I want you to know that. The intellectually disabled, those who have learning disabilities, etc., they're beautiful people. They're beautiful, the most beautiful people you could possibly imagine. I know many of them, by the way. The most beautiful people you could imagine. When Donald Trump uses that word, he's talking about the pejorative, which now describes people like Tim Walz. Okay? Just want you to know that. I just want you to know that. But here is Donald Trump doubling down on calling Tim Walz retarded.
In that same post, you mentioned Tim Walz, and you called him what many Americans do find an offensive word, retarded. Do you stand by that claim of calling Tim Walz retarded?
Yeah, I think there's something wrong with him. Absolutely, sure.
But you don't think that...
You have a problem with it? You know what? I think there's something wrong with him. Anybody that would do what he did, anybody that would allow those people into a state and pay billions of dollars out to Somalia. We give billions of dollars to Somalia. It's not even a country because it doesn't function like a country. It's got a name, but it doesn't function like a country.
Now, I've got more on this coming up because Tim Walz says that he wears that badge like a badge of, or that name like a badge of honor, which is honorable for somebody as stupid and corrupt as he is. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. There's a lot of politicians that should...
Rob, do you have time for the Deplorabella?
No. Gold thinks as a smart planner...
You want to call back...
Tomorrow. That's what does she want to talk about?
$5,000. It's in Helen. Walz was one of the people she wanted to talk about how insane the Democrats have become.
80% this year. We don't have time today. We got 3 guests.
Okay.
Sorry.
I
encourage you to I can't give her an entire segment today. With rate cuts from the Fed in 2026, the dollar will be worth less. And what happens if the AI bubble bursts? Diversify. Let Birch Gold Group help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a IRA in physical gold.
Today
and
is...
for every $5,000 you buy... In case you didn't notice, we got a bunch of shit on the plate. Just text my name, Rob, to 98...
Well, not only that, you haven't been on the air for 4 days.
Exactly.
It's even double.
9898 because Birch Gold's free silver with qualified purchase promotion ends December 22nd. Text Rob to 989898.
Are you living?
I'm just going over this article from the New York Times.
You could be on the road to geographic
atrophy, I didn't even get everything.
GA, a condition that leads to permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down. Get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Capted Pagel, is a
Taibbi, Rob Finnerty, and more as they expose the big media lies, the Washington swamp. And they're never afraid to talk about faith, freedom, and the values that made us great. Find out why Newsmax is the fastest growing news channel in America. Make the switch today and join our news revolution.
Then we got a bump and Run DMC.
Streaming and download the free app today. It takes just seconds to start. Let President Trump know you stand with Newsmax. It's for real news, for real people. Make the switch today.
Oh, I had to get out to the Christmas bumps. Run DMC, Christmas in Hollis. One of my favorite Christmas songs of all time. Come on. All right, now, what movie was it featured in? Come on, I say this every year. Yeah? You remember the beginning of Die Hard when Bruce Willis is in the limousine with Argyle, the guy driving the limousine? What song was playing? Boom! Right there. Thank you very much. My other favorite Christmas song is Mannheim Steamroller's version of Stille Nacht, Silent Night. That's my favorite of all time. Absolutely 100%. Douglas Murray on Fox talking about Somalian immigrants.
1991 is when the temporary status was granted. Somalia was a mess here to call for two.
It still is, because it's the world's meth lab trailer park.
That status was first granted in 1991 when the country was torn apart by civil war and its national government collapsed. The designation has been extended many times since, many times, more than 30 plus years. The president wants to terminate these protection orders. That's where we are.
Yes, because the City Journal report says and shows that there has been massive fraud, defrauding of American taxpayers, including of things like COVID-era loans and much more, and that some people in the Somali community in Minnesota have sent money from those schemes back to Somalia. And that some of them have found their way into the hands of the Al-Qaeda-linked terrorist group Al-Shabaab. Cases like that, the abuse of the welfare system,
but only in Minnesota, right?
The abuse of the housing system has been endemic in Somali emigre communities across Europe and other parts of the world where they've gone. You know, sadly, I mean, people bring certain things from the culture that they come from, and if they come from a very, very violent...
Yeah, generally, if they move in from the meth lab trailer park in your neighborhood, a couple of them are probably going to cause some problems, and they certainly have to the tune of billions of dollars. By the way, Tim Walz systematically retaliated against whistleblowers using monitoring, threats, repression, and did his best to discredit fraud reports. Tim Walz disempowered the Office of Legislative Auditor, allowing agencies to disregard their audit findings and guidance. Feeding Our Future, the fraud scheme, $250 million in stolen funds from a federally funded child nutrition program, has already resulted in 50 convictions. Stolen funds transferred have ended up in the hands of the terror group Al-Shabaab. And Minnesota, Tim Walz needs to be held accountable for it. He is a weaselly little SOB. I thought it was kind of funny. Donald Trump called him retarded. He said it. I can say it. It's okay. And Tim Walz said that he wears that title as a badge of honor. It kind of dishonors people who do have learning disabilities. But anyway, here is Tim Walz.
Look, Donald Trump insulting me is a badge of honor for me, but I think we all know, as both as a educator for a couple decades and as a parent.
Oh, God bless the kids who were in your stupid class.
Using that term is just so damaging. It's hurtful.
Yeah, there you go. And by the way, Donald Trump doubled down on it. He doubled down on it. Kind of reminded me of this movie scene.
I am Walter Peck, sir, and I'm prepared to make a full report. These men are consummate snowball artists. They use sense and nerve gases to induce hallucinations. People think they're seeing ghosts. And they call these bozos who conveniently show up to deal with the problem with a fake electronic light show.
Everything was fine with our system until the power grid was shut off by us here.
They caused an explosion. Is this true? Yes, it's true. This man has no...
There you go. Just kind of reminded me of that scene. Bill Murray doubling down on D-wordless. Here's Jim Gossett on Somalia and Minnesota.
Mogadishu, Mogadishu, men have fled you. You have set your dregs into the USA. Somalis, they are leaving Mogadishu. And it looks like most of them are here to stay.
Hell no, I don't think so.
They are ripping off the state of Minnesota.
Yeah, I know, Minnesota nice. Minnesota's stupid.
250 million they've stolen so far.
No, closer to 2 billion.
Tap on Tim hasn't lifted a finger.
Tampon Tim.
He allows it.
Yeah.
Disavows it.
I know he does. Crooked.
Ilhan Omar, you know she's behind it.
And I hope she gets deported too.
When it comes to fraud, she's Mogadishu's star.
There you go. That is Jim Gossett. You can help him out by going to patreon.com. Jim Gossett Comedy. My God. So brilliant. So I sent him that idea this week, and he just threw down, and he threw down beautifully. Patreon.com, Jim Gossett Comedy. By the way, Mickey Hastings on the top chat on YouTube says, serviceman in critical condition in Washington, D.C. Toe movement seen by parents. God is good. A great sign. Hopefully he will recover. And God bless the beautiful 20-year-old National Guard soldier who passed away on Thanksgiving Day. You will be avenged. You will. Let's take a break and come back. Doug Burns joins us next. Always entertaining and informative. Don't go anywhere.
The Democrats shut down and them all leaving town will be a gift to me. I see it as a firing opportunity. Let the layoffs begin. America will win. Just you wait and see. The Democrats just gave me an opportunity. Now I have a chance, along with J.D. Vance, to make us more waste-free. A federal budget cutting opportunity. The budget I'll reduce when thousands are cut loose. Less bureaucracy. I will make this another opportunity. This is a big time opportunity. Well, I'm gonna pay a visit. I'm headed to the Everglades. Gonna see a brand new prison for folks arrested in ICE raids. I hear it's already getting all kinds of accolades. Alligator Alcatraz, it's where illegals will be kept. We're cracking down unlike Biden, who was totally inept. It is something that the liberals in Florida cannot accept. California Alcatraz, I want to open that one too. Just imagine the hard time that real criminals will do. Alligator Alcatraz, I'm gonna take a tour of you.
With talent on loan from God. And have my brains tied behind my back, to be fair.
You were the sunshine of our life. Rush. That's why we'll miss you oh so much.
You know, I'm the mayor of Realville here.
You cut down liberals like a knife. Rush.
El Rush Ball.
Forever you'll be number one.
I am Rush Limbaugh, household name.
America needed a hero.
In all four corners of the world.
And then you came to our rescue.
The Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies.
Competition, you had zero. How could so much talent be inside of you?
And don't doubt it.
You were the sunshine of our life. Rush. That's why we listened every day.
That's it. It's not much more complicated than that.
You helped us get through all the strife. Rush. No one will ever take your place. Because Rush was the sunshine.
Surpassing all audience expectations every day behind this, the Golden EIB microphone.
We got the piggy again.
The what?
Piggy.
Oh.
Hey, quick question for all the people mad at Donald Trump for calling that reporter a piggy. Would you prefer to be called her Hitler, racist, rapist, pedo, dictator, fascist? Would you prefer one of those?
Metallica, followed by DHS Secretary Tulsi Gabbard.
This January intelligence community assessment that they drafted at the direction of President Obama, the fact is that they used already discredited information like the Steele dossier. They knew it was discredited at that time, yet they used it as a source for this document that they claim to have high confidence in. They used intelligence that some of these intelligence community professionals rejected previously because of the lack of credibility and the lack of the ability to vet with any kind of confidence whether or not that information or intelligence was accurate and could be used for an assessment. Wow. There's a long laundry list of facts and intelligence reporting that directly contradict the statement coming from President Obama's office and those who are trying to deflect away from what actually happened, which was after Donald Trump was elected, led by President Obama, there was an effort to create a document that would serve as a foundation for what would be a years-long coup against President Trump, therefore trying to subvert the will of the American people.
Do you suppose that the Democrat Party regrets chasing her out of the Democrat Party? I hope so. It sounds like the feces is hitting the fan finally. Here to talk about this and other subjects today, former federal prosecutor and favorite guest on this here radio program. He's Doug Burns. Doug Burns, how are you this glorious Monday?
Very good, Rob. How are you?
I'm glorious, man. I had a wonderful Thanksgiving and made some hella turkey soup yesterday. Man, I made some turkey noodle soup with the carcass. Oh, my God. I wish you were here. I would serve you up a hot bowl.
Well, I have a shocking admission.
What?
For the first time in 60-plus years, I had salmon, not turkey.
You had salmon? Oh, you know, that's all right. Salmon's good.
It's basically sacrilegious, but my sister hosted it, at a restaurant club, and they had two options. So I said, you know what? I'll have the fish first.
Hey, man, nothing wrong with salmon. Salmon is a gift from God. All right, so let's talk about Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, more documents exposing Barack Obama, the Russiagate hoax. She has also officially referred Barack Obama to the DOJ for criminal prosecution. That's what I'm hearing. What do you know, and what do you think?
Well, you have to work backwards, which is work backwards from the election. The American public saw right through a number of things. They saw through the entire conspiracy to undermine Trump. They saw through the lawfare, the ridiculous, absurd Fonnie Willis case, the ridiculous, absurd Letitia James case, and on and on and on. Saw through all of it, reelected the man, and the left were hit like they got hit by a Mack truck. I mean, it was unbelievable. So the point is, Tulsi Gabbard's, the disclosure is excellent, but she's not telling me anything I didn't already know, and certainly nothing that Rob Carson didn't already know and hasn't been speaking about for years, which is that we know there was a concerted effort to completely and totally undermine Trump. We know that the Steele dossier was complete and total garbage, yet they soldiered on with the thing on and on and on, and it was just unbelievable. And then just throw in some ancillary stuff. The Hunter Biden laptop. Oh, yeah, that has the earmarks of Russian disinformation. No, it didn't. It was 100% legitimate, and the FBI knew it was legitimate months and months and months and months before. So this was just completely and totally disgraceful. I'm not dodging your main question, which is, the referral of Barack Obama, to DOJ. I don't actually think that's going to go anywhere, obviously. I know you're disappointed to hear that.
No. I agree with that. It won't go anywhere. It sucks, Doug. I mean, it's awful that SOB was able to get away with it. But the other people involved, and particularly after, I think, didn't Donald Trump just negate 92% of Joe Biden's executive orders for pardons?
He did.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, let me go back to Obama.
Yeah.
Not to put this in, melodramatic terms, but I think that he will be held accountable in the annals of history, and he'll be held accountable in the history books. I think that if serious scholars look at this calmly and dispassionately after the whole, Trump era and Trump derangement subsides, a number of scholars are going to write books. I hope I'm around to see them. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm 67. But the point is, these books are going to lay out exactly what you and I have been discussing, which is that there was just a breathtaking, concerted, illegal effort, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think he'll be held accountable there, hopefully. And that's it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you'll be around because you keep eating salmon for Thanksgiving. I think you're going to be fine. Let's talk a little bit about, there's a number of things on the plate. Donald Trump brought the National Guard to Washington, D.C. One of the unvetted radicals that Joe Biden allowed to come into the United States. Now they're saying anywhere between 100 and 190,000 Afghani people brought in, unvetted. Now one of them has murdered an American serviceman, which is an act of war as far as I'm concerned. Is there going to be any accountability for what Joe Biden did on the border, what Alejandro Mayorkas did, what those who allowed this to happen in Afghanistan, for what they did to our country before, we're able to boot all these people out?
Well, again, it's the same answer. There will be historical accountability, no question about it. Not sure about legal. I mean, the fact of the matter is, once again, you've heard me bemoan over and over and over about how I sit across the dinner tables from people, here in New York City and Manhattan, and they tell me that everything's just nothing more than right-wing talking points. But the reality is, even the furthest left person, et cetera, when they see what just unfolded, what just played out in Washington, D.C., they know full well that the legitimate conservative complaints about the way Biden, his czar, and of course I'm being sarcastic, Kamala Harris, handled and addressed the border was completely disgraceful. And now you're seeing some of the residual effects of that. Will there be accountability for what Biden did vis-a-vis? I mean, look, everybody knows about the disastrous withdrawal in Afghanistan, and now it turns out that there was a program to resettle people here. I don't think, in fairness, and I know you'll agree with this, you can't sweep with an overly broad brush, which is, that everybody's terrible and horrible. I don't agree with that. But Trump is taking measures to address the vetting situation and improve it, and he's going to put a pause on asylum petitions and applications, and it's the right thing. But I do not, again, disappointing answer, of course. I don't think the Biden administration is going to be held accountable.
All right. Well, we've got a few other things that I want to cover on the other side of the break. Doug, if you don't mind holding, I would really appreciate it because I'd like to cover up a few things,
of course.
Including the Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, and the massive fraud up there. I mean, and Donald Trump calling him the R word, which was the only thing people were mad about, not the $2 billion that were stolen under his watch, and he went after the whistleblowers, but they're mad because Donald Trump called him the R word, which is an insult to the R word. That's coming up with Doug Burns. This is the Rob Carson Show.
About that Washington Post report on the attack on that Venezuelan alleged drug boat. What do you make of what happened there? Do you think there was a war crime committed?
Oh, I think it's very possible there was a war crime committed. Of course, for it to be a war crime, you have to accept the Trump administration's whole construct here.
That we're at war.
Which is we're in armed conflict.
So they're basing it on a report, I think it was in the New York Times or Wall Street Journal, about a drug boat that had been exploded, and a couple of the hangers-on of the craft were survivors, and they went ahead and dropped another ordinance on them. That is hearsay, and has not been proven at all. And, of course, Pete Hegseth is doubling down on it, posting a humorous meme about wiping out the drug cartels. Doug Burns, former federal prosecutor, here to talk about this and so many other things. What have you heard about that? And do you suppose this is a distraction? Clearly, this is a distraction. Clearly, the seditious six, they have tried to create some sort of insurrection in the military, and they're doing a little CYA now. But what are your thoughts on the possibility of a war crime being committed by Pete Hegseth?
Well, that clip you just played, I only heard it. I didn't see it visually. Was that International War Tribunal Judge Kelly? I mean, come on. These people are unbelievable, Rob. They just jump right in with game show answers on everything, on really, really complicated questions. You and I, not to be modest on behalf of both of us, broke it down originally when we discussed this, which is, look, if the people can be reasonably viewed as war combatants, then you can take that action against that. If, on the other hand, you are arguing that they are civilians, and even the most vicious criminal who's a civilian is entitled to be arrested and brought to a court, that's called an intelligent debate. What you heard Judge Kelly, continuing the joke, say is, oh, yeah, it's a war crime, case closed, that's it. And let's go back to the whole Biden-era playbook. We're not going to listen to any competing argument. We'll just shout it down and cancel it, et cetera, et cetera. But the fact of the matter is, you can argue it both ways. I happen to think that Trump would prevail on that. I know I'm sort of a conservative legal analyst, but the reality is I think he would prevail.
So the seditious six, and I do call them that because what they did, there was no reason to do it other than to sow discord in the military. That's it. I'm not an idiot. Mark Kelly cannot name a single order that Donald Trump has given that would be illegal. He doubled down on it this weekend and said that if he were told to go after the drug boats, he would disobey the order. So I'm going to tell you, this SOB, as far as I'm concerned, needs to be court-martialed. This has done nothing but divide. It was based on nothing, and it was ordering. It said you must disobey the illegal orders of Donald Trump. They can't come up with any illegal orders, so they're saying you must disobey Donald Trump, Doug. What is going to happen with this court-martial?
That's an interesting way to argue it. That actually is, which is, that's right. Since there are no illegal orders, then they're talking about any orders. But the reality is, they were being cute legally. They always do. They consult lawyers. They sit in conference rooms. And so they turn around and say, you should disobey illegal orders. That's not telling me anything I don't already know. That's a correct statement of law, but it's breathtakingly misleading and disingenuous and disgusting because they're making it sound to the average person, and I'm not being pompous, but let's say, has no, orientation toward law or legal analysis. You have people walking around saying left and right, I can't believe Trump is issuing illegal orders. And Kelly knew full well that would be the result of what he did. Now, interesting point, really interesting, is that my late dad, Arnold Burns, was a lawyer in the Judge Advocate General. People might say, why is he mentioning that? I'm mentioning it because my father used to talk all the time about the case that stands for the proposition that you can go back and bring somebody back in for the purpose of court-martialing them. Either he was involved or colleagues were involved in that exact case. So the point is, Kelly could be recalled, okay? Mm-hmm. It's what you call sort of long-arm jurisdiction.
Yes.
Bring him back into the military and face court-martial. I thought what he did was disgusting, all of them. Absolutely disgusting because it was so misleading and so cynical in terms of couching it in terms of a correct statement, which is you can disobey. Now, illegal orders, I don't have to tell you, but for the listeners and your audience, illegal orders are things like kill civilians, commit a crime. You know, they're relatively clear and straightforward. I mean, this really was disgusting.
And military members already know that, Doug. They already know it. They're already told it. This was bordering on sedition, if not completely sedition. You've got Democrats defending this with the First Amendment, defending things like saying that, you know, National Guard troops might murder civilians. You never know what'll happen. And then what the hell happens? Some psycho who's let into the country after being unvetted murders a National Guard troop. And by the way, the young woman who was murdered by this SOB, she said that she was spat upon by people in Washington, D.C., just like Vietnam soldiers returning from Vietnam were by the left, for God's sake. And honestly, they are using the First Amendment, and there's a line sooner or later, Doug, where the First Amendment isn't going to cover their butts.
No, the First Amendment is going to go right out the window when you start going down these roads. You know, I'm not a psychiatrist, but I'll guarantee you, I think Kelly, you would think that now he may hopefully be having some second thoughts about this ridiculous. He ought to come out and apologize, truth be told.
Oh, he's not going to.
Never happened.
He's not going to. I want the SOB. I want him court-martialed. I want him to give a rat's behind about it.
I don't blame you. I mean, I thought it was disgusting, and I was really, you know, again, just a point of personal thing. My father was a lawyer in the United States Army for 4 years. He loved it. He probably would say it was the best part of his career. Which was a pretty notable career, but that's another seminar. Yeah. And so the reality of the matter is that it really is disgusting for these people to, I mean, again, we've looked at this from 30,000 feet so many times, and the point is, you know, everything is too far off the rails, okay? And everybody's got to take it down a notch and not come out. And by the way, the other part of this, which we didn't articulate, but I know everybody knows, is this nonsense of, you know, fronting your credibility. You know, I served in this capacity and that capacity, and that's a big part of it, and that makes it even more disgraceful. You know
100%. 100%. Well, I appreciate you being on today, Doug. Leftover salmon is always great. I'd mix it with some cracker crumbs and an egg and make a patty.
I'm heading to the fridge right now, buddy.
All right, my friend. God bless you, and Merry Christmas and all that. We'll talk again soon.
You too.
All right, let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. All right, I'm going to talk to the streamers now because I forgot you guys last hour. What do we got talking about here? You guys are talking about, I miss Rush. I listen to Chris Plant. What the hell am I? Am I chopped liver, for God's sakes? I don't think there's anybody who comes closer to what Rush did on the radio than this guy right here who wrote for him for 25 years. Hello? Your answer is right here. Right here. Oh, you guys. Anyway, I mean, my God, this is the comedy that you hear on this show done by Jim Gossett was my comedy. Yeah, it's new comedy. But I did the same thing for Rush for 25 years as a kid. Yeah, so there you go. How about, you know, instead of lamenting, how about go damn, celebrate the fact that the guy who did the comedy is on the air and walking in his footsteps, maybe, you know, trying to fill his shoes. Nobody's going to fill his shoes. But how about that? Every day, this show is a tribute to what Rush Limbaugh did. It is uniquely entertaining, like Rush Limbaugh, and I use humor to make a point. And you know why? Because I brought humor to Rush's show as a 23-year-old in 1989 when he was running parodies from UHF, the Weird Al Yankovic movie. Spatula City was a Weird Al Yankovic movie parody. He didn't have any original comedy until this guy came along. Yeah, you know. Sometimes you got to toot your own horn, man. So there you go. I feel better now. We can talk about here. Homan. Oh, Homan. We can talk about Homan. I got to do that. This is good. Donald Trump, the biggest smackdown of the weekend. All right. Let's see. Over there on Merry Christmas, Bag of Patriots, Mickey Hastings, Merry Christmas. I say Merry Christmas. I never say Happy Holidays. Screw that. I say Happy Hanukkah. Here we go. Coming up, the biggest smackdown by Donald Trump of a liberal reporter with a stupid question from this year. Maybe ever. We'll get to that. A lot of politicians are getting coal in their stocking for Christmas. Birch Gold thinks as a smart planner you deserve silver. Every $5,000 you invest right now in gold from Birch Gold, they're going to send you an ounce of silver, which is up over 60% this year. You know, silver and gold, silver and gold. You need them both in your portfolio. That's why I encourage you to buy gold from Birch Gold. With the rate cuts from the Fed in 2026, the dollar will be worth less. And what happens if the AI bubble bursts? What about that? You think about that? Diversify. Physical gold was at $2,600 at the beginning of last year. It was $4,200 last week. You get an ounce of silver for your stocking, for your kids. How about that? How about that? Put a silver ounce coin in the kid's stocking. Huh? How about that? Wouldn't that be neat? Plus, then you're just going to be investing your IRA or 401k in gold. Kaboom! Holy heck, Santa Claus didn't even need to come this year. Although I'm sure he will. Text Rob to 989898 to claim your eligibility for this offer. Again, Rob to the number 989898 because Birch Gold's free silver with qualifying purchase ends December 22nd. So Joe Biden let in 100,000 Afghans. One of them killed a National Guardswoman in Washington, D.C. last Wednesday, died on Thanksgiving, and another one is in critical condition. And a woman was asked why he blames Joe Biden for it.
Why do you blame the Biden administration?
Because they let him in. Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? Because they came on a plane along with thousands of other people that shouldn't be here.
If you ask that question, you're a friggin' idiot. You are, honestly, you are a friggin' idiot.
And you're just asking questions because you're a stupid person. And there's a law passed that it's almost...
Yeah, you are a stupid person for asking the question. I'm so glad we have a president doing that. Jim Acosta is now saying that the press should boycott Donald Trump's pressers. Now, I want you to think about this. 98% of the time, the news is negative on the press. Do you suppose Donald Trump would hate this?
And that's why I strongly believe, and there are people who disagree with me on this, that other folks in the press in the room should speak up in that moment and say, Mr. President, that is not appropriate. And, and double down on the questions that were asked. Why didn't you answer that question? Why are you resorting
because it was a stupid question.
To personal attacks?
The answer should be obvious.
Can't you take the heat? What's going on here? And, to me, I think the only solution to all of this is collective action. We need to see the networks get together, perhaps with some of the major newspapers, send a letter to the White House, send it to Caroline Leavitt, and say, listen, if the president does not stop these attacks, we're not coming into your...
There you go. It's like having your drunken uncle at Christmas not show up. You're like, well, hell yeah. Bye. Who cares? You guys are losers and liars anyway. Russia collusion, anybody? Hour number 3 of the show right ahead. Don't go anywhere.
This is the right choice for Maryland.
No blind rhetoric.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think.
I trust Newsmax. Newsmax.
They don't tell me how to think. They let me decide.
Real news for real people.
Hold it now.
You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show. Welcome to it. Come on in. Have a seat. I really enjoyed the weekend. I hope you did as well. I started off a Wednesday. Wednesday is when I signed off the air, and I immediately went down to be on the Right Squad Chris Plant show on Newsmax. And as that happened, we found out that 2 National Guard soldiers were shot, one murdered, and one who, by the way, apparently is wiggling his toes this morning. So we're hoping for a miracle there. But I went to tape the Right Squad, and obviously the news cycle changed in a heartbeat, and we discovered a lot of things about Joe Biden allowing Afghan unflooded Afghans to come in here and completely unvetted. And what has happened here, and we talked to Doug Burns about it last hour, some sons of bees are going to have to go to jail for what they did. And I've been saying this for years, that the Biden administration stuffed a Trojan horse with America's enemies, knowing that it was going to destroy the country and people were going to die. And Democrats thought it was a price worth paying. That's it. Why did they not say anything as hundreds of thousands of people, young people, died of fentanyl? Why didn't they say anything about hundreds of thousands of children being trafficked for sex and work in our country? Why didn't they say anything? Why are we seeing PSAs for fentanyl for the first time under the Trump administration? Because the Democrat Party is evil. That's it. And you want to know how evil they are? This weekend, after Donald Trump brought the National Guard in and made Washington, D.C. crime-free, essentially, they blamed him. They blamed the National Guard for their own assassination, for their own attack. They blamed the National Guard. I am done with these SOBs. Done, done, done. How dare you say such a thing? How dare you say that the military should defy Donald Trump, his illegal orders? He's never issued an illegal order. So they're saying disobey the president. That's what they're saying. I have told you this, that we are in a de facto civil war. The Democrat Party wants to start something. They want to create division. And I'm going to tell you, we better shut this down. Here is Judge Jeanine talking about unvetted criminals coming in, causing untold damage. The Democrat Party committed a seditious act by allowing this during Joe Biden's presidency.
There was no vetting. If you think there was vetting, I have a bridge to sell you. If you saw the chaos that was going on at that airport in Kabul, in Afghanistan, it was typical of what was going on in the Biden administration. And the Pentagon, I believe it was Kirby and people in the Biden administration, said the Afghan withdrawal that we all know was disastrous was a success. And that's a quote. They called that a success. That chaos is not a success. That is a nightmare. And 13 American servicemen and women were killed at that airport because the Biden administration couldn't get their facts together and couldn't make a decision regarding the rules of engagement. Here is Stephen Miller, immediately following the murder of a National Guard servicewoman and the profound injury of another.
Biden administration, the Democrats have inflicted on this nation the worst national security threat in our history. We've never faced a threat like this. 20 million people brought into our country from the most failed societies on earth. Afghanistan, Somalia.
It's about fundamentally changing America, isn't it?
Libya, Iraq, brought here.
Military-age males across the southern border from China and all these countries. The bastards who did this need to be held accountable, and they need to pay for it with their freedom and their lives.
No conditions, no rules. Brought here on visas, brought here on as refugees, brought here as asylees, brought here as illegals, brought here in every way imaginable, by plane, train, bus, automobile, by land, by sea. For 4 straight years, they deluged this country. And now, more blood is being spilled as a result. What you heard tonight from President Trump, the breaking news here tonight, is saying that his government is going to accelerate efforts to review
They brought in another 5,000 troops. I love it. I love it. I love it. Here is Tom Homan talking about cleaning up Joe Biden's mess.
President Trump has saved America. Let's be clear. When he came in office, he gave us the most secure border in the history of this nation.
They said it couldn't be done. They said that it couldn't be done. They need to pass some sort of law. This is why the Democrat Party now I know has to be swept into the dustbin of history. There's no saving them.
Never been more secure. So now we know who's coming. Now we clear who's coming. We don't have 10,000 up to 12,000 people a day enter this country illegally. We had 10.5 million illegal aliens come to the border under Joe Biden. And that's not counting the hundreds of thousands that came through the CHMB program, the CBP-1 app. And it's not counting the over 2 million known gotaways.
It was an invasion by our enemies, and people in power invited them in.
Now, at least these Afghanistans, the other people came into a pro program. At least we have a photograph. We have some fingerprints. We will never get the records to actually know who they are because many of these countries like Afghanistan don't have databases like we have. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to vet anybody. But the 2 million...
And they didn't care. And they didn't care that it cost thousands and thousands and thousands of American lives. Rapes, murders, theft, I can go on and on. They didn't care. Your Democrat Party didn't care. Unbelievable. And then Jasmine Crockett, who is so stupid, she makes the entire world more dumb. She is a suck hole of stupid. She literally brings down the IQ of the entire planet. She does. She's that dumb. She is that idiotic. And I want you to listen to what this wretched, idiotic woman, who, by the way, is a St. Louis private school Deb. She is. I know St. Louis real well. And when you from St. Louis, what's the first question you say somebody from St. Louis? What high school did you go to? And they still have debutante balls in St. Louis. I know this because I'm very familiar with the St. Louis culture. She went to a private school in St. Louis. She's a Deb. She's a St. Louis Deb who likes to talk all girlfriend when she's talking to a black audience, which is really insulting to black people. Thought you should know. Listen to this awful woman compare Jesus Christ, all right, to the illegals. I want you to listen to what she says. The party of abortion, the party that has literally killed 60 million children before birth since Roe v. Wade, half of them black kids. Yeah. Saying that, listen to what she says here, right at Christmas time. Listen to what she said.
I just want to be clear. This is the party that says that, they care so much about life until life actually shows up at their front door. And this is also the party that supposedly is about Christianity. And I just imagine what they would have done to a little baby Jesus. But that's a whole other issue.
Democrats would have aborted the baby Jesus before birth. Yeah. I don't see Dad around. Better abort that baby.
It is really so...
And Democrats don't believe in Dad.
Heartbreaking. We know that under...
In more ways than one.
The prior Trump administration, it was the children in cages. So right. For me,
that never
expecting
happened.
them to do better by children was not one of the things that was on my bingo card.
Like I said, she makes the world dumber. I mean, she rides a tsunami of stupid. She boogie boards on a tsunami of her own stupidity. That's how stupid she is. Oh my God, I'm getting less intelligent. Fortunately, I have a few IQ points to spare. But every time I listen to that woman, a derp, my God. Oh, and then here's Mark Kelly, the seditious Mark Kelly, and he says the reason why Donald Trump, after, of course, they released unvetted immigrants into our population and hundreds of thousands of children have been trafficked for sex and work, and hundreds of thousands of women have been the same, subject to the same, and hundreds of thousands of young people have died of fentanyl. He says Donald Trump doesn't want these people who've caused so much pandemonium to come in our country because of the color of their skin.
When I heard the secretary say that they're going to pause immigration from third world countries, I mean, I take that as a message that they don't want brown people coming to the United States. And I find that disturbing. We are a country that has always welcomed individuals that are struggling, that are fleeing.
You giant flaming butthead. I am the son of immigrants. My ancestors didn't own slaves. They came here with nothing in their pockets, and they moved to Iowa, where they raised crops and livestock to feed the country, you giant flaming butt. I could say worse things, but FCC rules don't allow me to do so. And so with that, I'm going to play some satire, because I need it right now from Jim Gossett about the seditious Six and Mark Kelly on the Rob Carson Show.
Oh, there's no place like jail for Kelly to stay. Alyssa Slotkin should be there too.
They would abort the baby Jesus.
Their sentencing will be a happy day.
Because they don't believe in dad.
Cause they broke the law and they will get their due.
Let's hope.
I'm watching Jason Crow on CNN. He is looking scared, trying hard to dodge the FBI.
Feces meet fan.
Miss Houlihan looked nervous. She was unprepared. I will be delighted when they're all indicted, cause there's no place like jail for those six to stay.
Come on.
In a cells where all of them should be.
Ooh, wouldn't that be nice?
A court-martial, it could come any day.
Please, God!
Lock Mark Kelly up and throw away the key.
Santa, bring me a court-martial for that SOB. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. There's a lot of politics.
But the fact is, we have an extra 12 million people who are in our country illegally. Most Americans don't support illegal immigration. They think illegal immigration is illegal. Duh. It's not because they're racist.
Nope.
They look at the southern border like they look at the front door at their home, of their home. Most Americans lock their front door at night. They don't do that because they hate everybody on the outside. They lock their front door at night because they love the people on the inside. And they want to know who's going in and out of their home. We've got to fix the problem of illegal immigration, and we have to have money to do it.
Yep. That's John Kennedy, the king of colloquial, as I like to call him. Why would the Biden administration open the southern border? Why would they bring so many unvetted people in here and allow so many people to be murdered and trafficked and raped and die of drug overdoses without saying anything? Why? Who would do that?
I don't know how many foreign nationals came into our country illegally under President Biden. 8 million, 10 million, 12 million. I do know that it was a lot. And using the most conservative efforts, we probably added about 4 Nebraskas to the United States. We don't have the slightest idea who they are. We know some of them are children. We don't have the slightest idea where they are. I believe it was intentional. I don't know why President Biden and his team decided to do it, but only one of 2 circumstances are possible.
What's that?
Either it was intentional, or the people in charge you wouldn't hire to manage a Costco food court. And I don't think it was the latter.
Yeah, it was intentional. It was meant to fundamentally change America. Shocking document reveals Biden's botched Afghan evacuation led to over 5,000 migrants flagged for national security risks into America. Newly released document shows more than 5,000. Operation Allies Welcome were flagged for serious national security concerns. And Blaine Holt said last hour, if you want to listen to the podcast, at the Abbey Gate, there were black buses that showed up with military-age men, unloaded and given priority entrance onto the transports to come to the United States. We're already in a war. And now we have hundreds of thousands of casualties. I'll tell you what, man. People are going to have to pay. Coming up, the second dumbest thing that Jasmine Crockett said over the weekend. Oh, my God. I've been taking this, what is it? It's the brain supplement that Joe Rogan, of course, I can't remember it. You might want to use it. Alpha Brain. I use Alpha Brain. I've been using Alpha Brain. See, this is the Alpha Brain just caused me to remember. I'm not kidding. I don't believe in this stuff, but this is not an endorsement. I'm not being paid. But I started taking the Alpha Brain, and now I'm remembering stuff like that, which would normally be like into the ether. Ask Brian, my producer at WCBM in Baltimore. Of course, Brian never, he always, he doesn't hear me half the time. He's like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. There's Rob again forgetting something. Maybe to pull his ass out of the fire. I haven't heard him click. He's listening. A lot of politicians should be getting coal in their stocking, but Birch Gold says, as a smart planner, you deserve silver. Here's something kind of cool. If you're going to go ahead and invest in gold, with Birch Gold, which you should because, I've told you a billion times, how about for your kids or, maybe grandkids, you get a silver coin, an ounce of beautiful sterling silver like I have. Where is it? No, that's my headphones. I've got 2 little velvet pouches in here. One of them with headphones, one of them with a silver coin. I think I left it at home. Well, they'll give it to you if you're every $5,000 invested. So you're going to move the money anyway. Might as well get something out of it, right? And that gold coin, that silver coin has gone up 60% this year. So why don't you just text my name, Rob, to 989898 and get the ball rolling on that. And, you give the silver coin to the kids. What a great way to teach them about saving smartly. There you go. Text my name, Rob, to 989898 to claim your eligibility for this offer, which, by the way, ends December 22nd. I think that's Monday. I think it's Monday. I'm going to be off that week, by the way, and the last week of December, too, because I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm going back home to see my kids and my dogs. But free silver right now ends December 22nd. Gold has gone up 60% this year. $2,600 at last January, $4,200 last week. Text Rob to 989898. Claim your eligibility for this offer and get information on gold. Here we go. Here's Jasmine Crockett acting like a moron. Once again, Jasmine Crockett talking about how, even though hundreds of thousands of rapes have occurred and murders and, all of the sundry crime caused by people who've been allowed to come into this government, into this country illegally, she says that white supremacists, and I'm going to explain, I hate to have to explain why it's so stupid, but I'm going to have to explain why it's so stupid coming up.
Because if that's the case, let's talk about the white supremacists and how many of them need to be kicked out of this country, because I can guarantee you, I can track down more crimes that they've committed, because overall immigrants have a lower crime.
That's a lie.
Committal rate than white supremacists, but we don't want to talk about that in this.
Okay, so when you book somebody in for a crime, you obviously are able to somehow figure out they're a white supremacist. Now, if I'm not mistaken, if you're booked in as an Afghani national, came in illegally, you're going to be able to figure out that they're an Afghani national. The same goes, say, for instance, if you're a Somali in Minnesota who's stolen millions of dollars because Tim Voets allowed you to do that. So how often do you hear in the criminal description, we've got a whatever male fled the scene, white supremacist? Yeah, because you can't tell, you friggin' moron. My God, woman, you are so stupid. You make the whole they make the whole world more stupid. Oh, so stupid. Bakari Sellers, he said something this weekend. Let me see if I can find this. Bakari Sellers, he said something really stupid this weekend because the Democrat Party, they just discovered that we are a nation of immigrants. I want you to listen to this.
What Katie and Scott fail to realize sometimes in their analysis is that most of America understands that immigrants are a part of the fabric of our country. And they're the people who make our country go. They're not just the people we look down on in some condescending.
Yeah, nobody does, you moron. You see, because I was raised knowing that America is a great American melting pot. And my family are immigrants, okay? My ancestors are immigrants, you idiot. So you're not telling us anything new. We've always been a country of immigrants. Just because you are protecting and you are defending this round of immigrants that are wreaking untold damage to our country means nothing. You're not teaching us anything. We are immigrants, you fool. Oh, I get so tired of this. Oh, my God, we've just discovered we're a country of immigrants. Dear Lord. All right. I'm going to take a breather and come back. Erin Van Natta joins us from the Daily Caller next. Always awesome. Don't go anywhere.
Latasha Brown.
There's no place like jail for Kelly to stay. Alyssa Slotkin should be there too. Their sentencing will be a happy day, 'cause they broke the law and they will get their due. I'm watching Jason Crow on CNN. He is looking scared, trying hard to dodge the FBI. Miss Houlihan looked nervous. She was unprepared. I will be delighted when they're all indicted, 'cause there's no place like jail for those six to stay. In cells where all of them should be. A court-martial, it could come any day. Lock Mark Kelly up and throw away the key. The House wants me to testify about Jeffrey Epstein, but I've got lots to cover up, if you know what I mean. They'll ask me about the island, on what went on down there. I could go and tell the truth, but I wouldn't dare. I am dodging subpoenas so is my wife. We will try to dodge them for the rest of our lives. We are dodging subpoenas. Comer says we'll fail, because if we keep on dodging, he will send us to jail. We are dodging subpoenas. Could find us in contempt from prosecution. We are not exempt. We are dodging subpoenas because we are afraid. Comer's got a name. She isn't running, and we're so grateful. That woman was oh so hateful. She's a national disgrace. That's Nancy with a Botox face. Her star was rapidly fading. She's as corrupt as can be. She made millions from insider trading. Where is the SEC? Nancy Pelosi was a lousy speaker. She tried to make our country weaker. I'm glad they will replace Miss Nancy with a Botox face.
Walz asked you to release MRI records.
Will you tell us what it was
Governor
for?
Walz, you mean the incompetent Governor Walz? So if they want to release it, it's okay with me to release it. It's perfect.
What were they
It's like my phone call where I got impeached. It's absolutely perfect. So if you want to hear about it or if you want to release it, do you want to have it released?
Yes,
News Nation? Failing News Nation?
No, sir, we're not failing.
News Nation is doing lousy, by the way. But if you want to have it released, I'll release it.
Please, can you tell us what they were looking at?
So the leftist media is once again grasping at straws, the Democrat Party, clawing and like vampires, movie vampires dying, clawing, scratching, trying to drag us into hell with them, with anything they can to distract. Right now on Twitter, Trump's MRI is trending, and Caroline Levitt is saying, well, guess what? His cardiovascular imaging was perfectly normal. They're just trying to do anything to distract from the incompetence of Tim Walz, from the incompetence of Joe Biden allowing unvetted Afghanis to come into this country, many of them Taliban members, one of them killing a National Guard soldier and injuring another on Wednesday. Oh my God, the stupid is strong with these people. Erin Van Natta, columnist for the Daily Caller, also one of my favorite guests, joins us on the Newsmax Hotline. I didn't expect so much to happen over Thanksgiving weekend, to be quite honest. How about you?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Usually the weekends and holidays are a bit slower. Unfortunately, that was not the case this time around.
You know, it started off in Wednesday. I was going into Newsmax to host, or I should say be on the panel with Chris Plant's show. We had an Afghani national led into the country after Joe Biden's disastrous and insulting Afghan withdrawal without vetting. And you know, obviously with the Democrat Party saying that the National Guard might commit acts of violence, that ICE is the Stasi, etc. This jackass drives 3,000 miles across the country, and the Democrats blame Donald Trump for putting the National Guard in Washington, D.C. and make it safer.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw, but it was actually the Associated Press. They just had a report out today. They obtained emails from a community advocate in Washington State who worked with like Afghan nationals in the area, and they were this person was emailing a refugee nonprofit, warning essentially that this guy who allegedly shot these National Guardsmen, that he was not functional. That was their quote, and that he was exhibiting signs of like very severe mental illness.
Yeah.
And so there were red flags early on about this guy, and somehow this no one did anything about it.
Well, anybody who would murder other people for some sort of religious fervor is not only mentally ill, they are also dangerously radical. So, you know, they're going to try. They literally, I heard people saying, "Oh yeah, he must have had PTSD." Really PTSD? Honestly, I mean, utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, it is disturbing to see the amount of journalists and outlets that are trying to. I mean, they do this unfortunately a lot with these shooters, as they try to kind of garner sympathy for them. I'm sure you remember when the Washington Post reported on the leader of ISIS. They called him an austere religious scholar. So
oh my God!
New. Oh
my God! Well, this unvetted Afghanis coming to the country is obviously a giant story. Donald Trump is revoking visas. Here's a little bit of audio from that.
And Brett, this just breaking right now. The Secretary of State and the State Department are announcing that they have revoked 80,000 visas, American visas, in the year 2025. So far, we get a partial breakdown of those.
He has also said that he is no longer he's putting a temporary halt, a pause on people coming in from third world countries. Of course, the left immediately saying that it is racist. Jasmine Crockett saying that Donald Trump would have booted the baby Jesus out of the country, for God's sake. I mean, honestly, it is just so utterly ridiculous, isn't it?
It is ridiculous. I'm sure. I mean, you mentioned the halting of the visas. Our White House correspondent recently reported that the State Department ordered all of its posts to stop processing Afghan national visas, which just seems common sense to me.
Yes.
I mean, because clearly there wasn't any vetting going on, or if it was very minimal. I know that he came in under Operation Allies Welcome, which is a nice sounding program. That was kind of just, I think, really encapsulates what the Biden admin was. Build Back Better, like the CHIPS, like all these nice sounding programs.
Yes.
And then you dig into it, and they're awful.
Inflation Reduction Act.
Yeah, exactly. They all mean the opposite of what they actually entail.
It is remarkable the destruction that they have caused. Donald Trump was asked how long the pause on the asylum from third world countries, and he said indefinitely. And I think that's good. Donald Trump is saying that everybody who was not vetted will be removed. So this cowardly act by this psychotic radical Islamist last Wednesday in Washington, D.C. has resulted once again in a double down on the effort to get people who came here illegally during the Biden administration and beyond.
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately, I know that the admin was taking some action earlier in the year, but it is tragic that it takes an event like this to really get people moving and to start rectifying the problems. I mean, it didn't just start under Biden. I mean, it's easy to harp on him, but this has been going back like decades, unfortunately. And it ties into, I'm sure you know, what's going on in Minnesota under Tim
Yes.
Walz.
Yes.
I know Chris Rufo and the City Journal, I believe, have been reporting on the massive amount of fraud that's going on in Minneapolis, particularly within the Somali community. There's a lot of fraud and kind of welfare schemes that are allegedly going on.
Yes.
Apparently, some of it has been linked to terrorist groups back in Somalia.
Al-Shabaab, yeah. Well, Douglas Murray said that the country of Somalia, they've been using the asylum in Minneapolis and Minnesota since 1991. Now we are seeing dozens of scams where it's like that is it the Somali prince? They send you an email and say, hey, I need to get my treasure out of here if you give me $1,000. Except for doing it live. They're doing it live in Minneapolis. And it sounds like Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, has turned a blind eye to it, even threatened people, I've been reading, even threatened whistleblowers because they're so terrified of the Somali community turning on Democrats and not voting for them. It is staggering. And by the way, I lived there for a while. Vote harvesting has been happening in the Somali community, in Little Somalia, in Minneapolis. They've got a series of high-rise buildings there. I'm very familiar with the area. And they vote harvest for Ilhan Omar. There was a story out in 2020. The residents of these buildings, elderly residents, were threatened. You have to vote Democrat, etc. And I'm hoping this house of cards comes tumbling down.
Wow. Ballot harvesting, especially in communities where, they may not be registered voters. They may not even be legally allowed to vote. That's concerning.
And by the way, Tom Homan is reporting they have discovered through Motor Voter that 100,000 illegals have been registered to vote in Pennsylvania. They have the paperwork. They've got the proof.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw, but Tim Walz said that his state attracts criminals.
Because he's got a stupid governor.
Well, he's trying to pin the blame on all the...
I know.
programs, which is kind of, saying the quiet part out loud there.
Yeah.
I think the infuriating thing is these officials, they know there's a problem. They know that there is rampant fraud and abuse, and they're not doing anything.
Because they want the votes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Erin, could you hold on through the break? I've got other things I want to touch you on the other side. Erin Van Natta joins me, daily caller. She's fantastic. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
SpongeBob.
Oh, good.
Bring joy to the world, it's the thing to do. But the world does not revolve around you.
Don't be a jerk. It's Christmas. I knew that Gen Z or Erin Van Natta would appreciate this. I raised two kids and we watched SpongeBob. Were you a SpongeBob when you were growing up? Did you watch SpongeBob?
I was not allowed to.
What? What? What was it about SpongeBob? There's some people you can't watch SpongeBob. Why in the hell not?
I can't remember why exactly. I just know I wasn't.
Wow, you are sheltered, girl. What was that? The first time hearing "Don't be a jerk, it's Christmas"?
Yeah, it was.
Oh my God! Well, I mean, of all the things you could, be exposed to, SpongeBob, I would say, would be the least threatening, to be quite honest.
You know what? I'd have to compare it to what's out there today.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Are you kidding me? Just listening to Jasmine Crockett talk is worse than every season of SpongeBob. Listen to this now, Erin. I know you have IQ points to spare, but clearly, and I've been saying this right, Jasmine Crockett makes the world less intelligent. She does. She brings down the IQ of the world. Here she is, quadrupling down on stupid on the Epstein thing.
You made a little bit of news last week when you mistakenly accused Lee Zeldin and other Republicans
I didn't
accepting money from Jeffrey Epstein, but it was a different Jeffrey Epstein according to the financial records. Do you want to? I want to give you the opportunity to amend that. And
I have no amendments. When I was on the floor, for those that don't know how it works, basically they decided to bring this privilege motion up. And they decided that they wanted to kick Stacey off of her committees because Stacey had received Stacey Plaskett because she had received a donation from Jeffrey Epstein.
From the Jeffrey Epstein.
I had maybe 20 minutes. We researched the FEC, and because I like to speak with specificity, that's kind of what comes with being
specificity. They Googled it.
An attorney. I made clear that there was a Jeffrey Epstein.
No, you didn't.
They knew on the other side that I did not have time to actually pull up and actually.
Oh my God! I mean, Erin. That's a quadruple stupid double down. I mean, I've never seen anything like it.
If I recall correctly, when she was on the floor making that speech and trying to insinuate that that Jeffrey Epstein had donated to the Republicans, she said like a Jeffrey Epstein, so she knew she was lying. So she was attempting to be crafty, but the way she executed it was just terrible.
It's like saying, Charlie Manson. Charlie Manson. Now you're frickin' texting Charlie Manson, for God's sake. Honestly, I swear to God, I just... Do you think she's going to get elected in the Senate?
I don't think so. No, maybe I'm too optimistic. I don't know. But I don't see her being elected in the Senate.
What do you think's going to happen with this whack job in Nashville?
Oh, that's a good question. I predict she'll lose. That is from country, I believe.
I hope so.
But the fact that she has any support at all is concerning. So. Yeah, I mean, we've had some...
I mean, she says she hates country music. She hates the people in Nashville. She wants to get rid of the police. She wanted ICE gotten rid of. She won't answer that question. She said every bat crap crazy thing you can possibly imagine, and there are still people saying, oh, yeah, it's a neck-and-neck race. You know why? Because Democrats will vote with anything in front of a D in front of it. They voted for friggin' a communist, anti-Semite, radical Islamist in New York.
As someone who has worked on campaigns, I can tell you that something Republicans struggle with is constant division, particularly in their primaries. Democrats, they just don't. They function like a military unit. They're always in lockstep most of the time.
Lockstep, well, goose step is what it is. Afton Ben is who we're talking about. My God. I mean, honestly, this is just... It's just getting a little bit ridiculous. It's getting a little bit ridiculous. Apparently, Donald Trump is going after the leftist media. They're putting up a website to what Brian Stelter says is to delegitimize the media. Here is Brian Stelter, who doesn't have a job because he's an illegitimate reporter, talking about it.
The president has ramped up his attacks on journalists in recent weeks. This isn't a new strategy for him. We have seen this. What is this all about? Is this just about controlling the narrative?
To delegitimize the media. I would say it's to delegitimize the media, Jessica.
No, the media delegitimized itself when it lied about Russia collusion. It lied about Hunter Biden's laptop. It's lied about everything. Media has done this to itself. And Brian Stelter, even after they had a disinformation governance board, says that Donald Trump is the problem.
Yeah, and these people, I mean, I don't think you can, this is, it's absurd considering the fact that the Biden White House is trying to pressure Facebook, as we know from emails and Mark Zuckerberg's testimony. They're trying to pressure big tech to censor people, whether they're talking about election fraud or COVID or any of these, topics you couldn't criticized during the Biden administrations. And I mean, did CNN complain about that?
No.
I don't recall them doing
the federal
so.
government blew $267 million fighting misinformation. Google admits censorship under Biden. I lived this. I had my Facebook page taken down the day after the election for no reason. Before I posted anything, I've been demonetized forever on social media. 90 federal agencies implicated in Biden's industrial censorship complex. I printed all these off in a response to that idiot saying that. Because we all went through it as conservatives, didn't we, Erin?
Mm-hmm.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I have to roll my eyes anytime I hear anyone on CNN or MSNBC complaining about government censorship.
Well, it's so funny because they do it from a position of unemployment because they got fired because they drove the ratings to the toilet because they lied and they carried the government censorship complex message without questioning it. That's why they don't have jobs. Oh, my God.
Yep.
I love it. All right, Erin, we got to run. Erin Van Natta, Daily Caller. Where can people find you on the social media?
Twitter or X is my primary means of communication, but also just be sure to check out our site, The Daily Caller. We might still have our Thanksgiving sale going on, so go to our site, check that out, and we just launched a Substack recently. So.
I love it. Well, support Daily Caller. You guys do tremendous work, and by the way, your Twitter, just so you know, because it's a little confusing sometimes, it's Van Natta 1776. Okay, there you go.
That's correct.
Great to have you on today. Always awesome. Have a glorious week, okay?
Thanks, you too. Bye.
Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. All right. Hi, everybody. What we got here on the Facebook of Rudy? America Marcy, how you doing? Deplorable dinosaur. You're great, Rob. Thanks. I appreciate that. You're my favorite person in the world. Sabrina, GP, I don't know. I don't know. Hi, how are you? Glad to have you. You want somebody to subscribe to you. I don't know anything about you, so I can't subscribe to you. You're going to have to tell us what you're all about. Mickey Hastings, what up, what up, what up? Glad to see you. Oh, well, let's go over to the Rumbly Room. Round a Pony. We missed you this weekend. We missed you. But it was nice to see you. The rest of you. Janine PH, hello. Pat Carr, hi. What up? You drink it. Always nice to see you today. Thanks for watching. Sportech. Rob got to stay upwind from you. Oh, I was talking about ham hocks and beans earlier. I made turkey noodle soup this week, and somebody said they had ham hocks this week, and I said, "Yeah, make some ham hocks and beans." My mother used to make it. I can't make it. Can't make it like my mother did. No way, no how, not possible. Kathy Doman says, "Great show, Rob." Well, thank you. I put a hell of a lot of work in today's show, and I didn't cover 30% of it. I didn't get to it all today. There's so much stuff. So there you go. I tried to. What are we going to cover here? Oh, I'll do this. I got one more break. I'm probably going to have about 3 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. But I hope you are enjoying the show. 2.5. Uh-oh, shoot. All right. Here we go. I got to talk. Had some good parodies today.
One more piggy.
Hey, quick question for all the people mad at Donald Trump for calling that reporter a piggy.
Here, piggy.
Would you prefer to be called her Hitler, racist, rapist, pedo, dictator, fascist? Would you prefer one of those?
Metallica! Man, I listen to some good music driving to and from Pittsburgh, over the river, through the woods. If you want to check out my social media, you can see pictures, including the wonderful World War II veteran that I had the opportunity to meet in the great story. This guy was part of a unit that liberated Dachau. And I shared it on my social media. And I listened to the podcast, the first hour of the podcast, to hear the story of this man who I had the honor of meeting at a convenience store. 102-year-old man, sharp as a tack, Battle of the Bulge, tank destroyer unit, freed Dachau, liberated Dachau. I met him. I had the honor of meeting him. Listen to the story today. Go to the podcast, Rob Carson Show. I'll even repeat it. I'll repeat it as one of the greatest stories. I might do an entire podcast on it. Remarkable. Real quick, Birch Gold. They're going to give you free silver for every $5,000 you purchase. It's not a purchase, it's an investment. So Birch Gold is going to send you a free ounce of silver. Silver and gold. Burl Lives, anybody? Silver and gold, okay? So right now, every $5,000 you invest in gold from Birch Gold, you get a silver ounce, which is up 60%. Put it in the kid's stocking. It's going to be really cool. They'll keep it forever. It'll be worth so much money by the time you die. Oh, my God. All you got to do is text my name, Rob, to 989898. Rob to 989898 to claim your eligibility for this offer. Excuse me, which ends December 22nd. Text my name, Rob, to 989898 for Birch Gold and get free silver with your gold. Silver with your gold. Download the podcast today, man. It is epic, and I didn't even get to 1/3 of why I wanted to today. Go to your usual podcast platforms. The feces is hitting the fan, and we're going to win. There you go. God bless you. America is founded. Donald Trump as he makes America greater. And until tomorrow, which is Tuesday, do not catch the stupid. I'll see you then.
All right, Rob, you have a good night.
All right, Brian, talk to you later.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real